Hey y'all, we have 3 more chairs up here. If anybody want to come up, any other brothers want to come up, or anything like that, say it. All right, Yosef, you want to come up? Come up. All right, cool. All right, Yosef, you want to come up? Anybody else? We got 2 more chairs up here too. Maybe let some of the ladies sit back there. Oh yeah, one right here too.
Yeah, so 4 more, 3 more.
Yeah, I had that.
Yahshuah might come up if it ain't no adults. I love that shirt. I was trying to get it for your shop. Did you see the lion this morning? Yeah.
I got to tell some friends about it.
Okay.
The sparkling one is the
Oh, I love that one too. Yes.
my mom don't like the French. I can't even say y'all with
You don't have to use this one.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shalom. Shalom.
All right, so we're gonna continue to let the brothers and sisters go ahead and fill in.
You can sit.
All right, so the title of today's lesson is the importance of separation. We get to these gatherings that we've been speaking about. We get to these Shabbat studies. We get to these feasts, and all I've been hearing for the past few years is unity, unity, unity. Let's unify. Let's come together. All right, so what I want to do is, I want everybody to put their hands like this. You know, y'all like, what we doing? It's just a little interaction. What we doing? All right. So look at your hands, your left hand and your right hand as a puzzle. Keep that in mind, left and right. All right. Now join them together as if the puzzle is coming together perfectly. All right. That's what Israel always want to do, right? Now take them apart. Real simple. What did we just do? Separated our hands. Now we back to the left and to the right. So some may examine the scriptures and say, well, it's not always good to separate because we gotta unify, right? But is that so? Now, we're going to go through some scriptures and see that it was good to separate at some points in a book. It was always, it was always good in these particular situations. But man.
We don't have to see it coming. Get a Sharpie.
We're going to wait till they bring the water because I want y'all to really lock in on this. So, as I was saying, we all speak about unity, and that's good. 2 Corinthians, chapter 6. That's the last one. We're going to read, we're going to start at verse 14. We're going to go to 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verses 14 through 17. Title of this message is the importance of separation. Yep. Live stream is good. Is it good, John? Looking good. All right. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And we're going to start at verse 14 and we're going to read down to 17. I don't want to really speed through it, but I don't want to be up here with a draggy voice all day neither, with a red eye, clear eye voice. Red eyes, I remember that commercial. All right, so pick it up at verse 14.
Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Stop right there. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Now, we instantly, right off the backhand, we say, them unbelievers is somebody that's not in the truth. Them unbelievers is somebody that I just left a few days ago, and they was just talking about going to the summer blast where they dressing naked. I'm not going to unify with them, but I am going to go ahead and unify with the brothers and sisters that I see on the Shabbat that say Shabbat Shalom. They do the shake, the kiss. You know, when they do all, they dress modest, right? These are people that I'm going to go and unify with. So it seems. Go ahead.
For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness?
What fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? See, the Most High only knows what you're doing behind closed doors. And the separation is going to take care of itself. People are going to cut themselves. Just like we did the whole analogy with the left hand and the right hand, people are going to go to the left and people are going to go to the right. We'll get more in depth, we'll go more in depth on that. But go ahead, Op.
And what communion have light with darkness?
What communion or assembly have lightness or light with darkness? Now stop right here. The room is lit up, right? There's no darkness in it. So that's what the naked eye can see. But it's a spiritual to this thing as well. All right? So let's just hold this right here. Let's go to, let's shoot over to Genesis chapter 1. Let's look at the heavenly aspect of it, or what the physical eye can see. What the importance of separation was here when the Most High, or Yahweh, the Elohim, started to conduct themselves in creation. So hold what you got in 2 Corinthians. We'll go over to Genesis chapter 1. And pick it up at verse 4. Read down to verse 5. We'll pick it up at verse 3.
Elohim said, let there be light. And there was light. Elohim saw the light, that it was good. Elohim divided the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night.
So he did what? He divided the the light from the darkness. That was very important. So that we can be able to look outside and say, it is light when the sun is out. It is dark when the sun is down. All right? Very simple, right? But that was very important right there for our timekeeping. All right? Keep reading.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
All right, so we see that the Most High, or the Elohim, said, let there be light, and there was light. And in verse 4, he divided, he separated the two. Now, some may look and think, okay, that's it. It is what it is. But we know that when you read the book of Isaiah, it says he declares the end from the beginning. There are a lot of beginnings. There are a lot of ends. All right? There were a lot of ends to our captivities. We were in bondage in Egypt. There was an end to that, right? Do anybody know why? Anybody know why? letting y'all go ahead and give an answer. Go ahead. Anybody know why there was an end to the bondage when we were in Egypt? Nobody want to answer?
Remember the covenant that he had with Abraham, so he said, you got to bring them out.
You hear me? Speak up. I'll go ahead.
Because the Most High said he remembered the covenant that he made with Abraham, and so he had to bring them out.
Right. So if he gave a covenant to these people that was in Egypt, how can we then join hands with somebody that's not part of the covenant? You can't. They have to partake themselves in the covenant, right? Because it's going to be some separation taking place if they don't. Let's go over to let's go to Exodus chapter 10. Now we in Egypt. And by the way, when you look at that word light, while y'all turning there, when you look at that word light, notice this is literal here, but it also is going to give a metaphorical when we look at the context of what we're going to read here in Exodus. You look at that word light, it's or. In the Hebrew, from the Hebrew word or. And it's Strong's Concordance number H216. So H216. And it says light, light of day, light of the heavenly luminaries. Daybreak, dawn, morning, light, right? And what we see is, all throughout the scriptures, light is being referred to as these people, darkness is being referred to as these people. Light being referred to as righteousness, darkness being referred to as unrighteous. Well, we went to Corinthians first to give the whole opening. All right, so Exodus chapter 10, we'll read verses 21 through 23.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, stretch out thy hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moshe stretched forth his hand towards heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days.
They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. It was that dark. Now, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. It's that dark, right? Go ahead.
But all the children of Israel.
All the children of who?
Children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
They had light. They had or in their dwellings. This is also significant to the 10 virgins. 5 being wise, 5 being foolish. Some took oil in their lamps to give light continually, and some didn't. All right? So that same word light that was there was the same Hebrew word that was used in Genesis, also darkness. Let me get that real fast. The darkness that you see in Genesis 1 and 3 comes from the Hebrew word cheshet or koshet, right? And it says what's the Hebrew number? H2822. And it's darkness, obscurity, darkness, secret place. So the same darkness that you see here in Exodus and light, those same words you also see there. One was literal, the other one was literal, but it showed a metaphorical sense as well, that there was some separation getting ready to take place between the children of the light and the children of the darkness, right? How do we know that that's true? Let's go to the Mashiach words. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 12. Book of John, chapter 12, and we're going to pick it up at verse 35. And when you get there, say hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Well, I just want to 35 and 36. So yeah, John chapter 12, verse 35 through 36. Go ahead.
Then Yahweh said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth.
So he said, yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light. It's twofold. It's like Yahweh was with us a little time, but we're not going to be dwelling here on this earth for long neither. So while we got this light, while we got this fire burning, we need to walk with the integrity, the newness. We need to walk with the abundance of the law within us right now, while we can. Right? Lest darkness come upon you. Lest these people that come sowing discord, lest these people that want to bring you back into the world, lest these people want to make you run towards mischief, come upon you. And these things overtake you and you go right back into the world. And then the Most High said your soul is required tonight. We got to walk with this light so we can be separate from the darkness. For he that walketh in darkness knows not whither he goeth. Now, we don't have to go there, but it's a scripture in the book of Psalms 23, I believe, and it says that their ways will be like slippery ways in the darkness. So imagine going to a hockey rink, and they cut all the lights off, and you're in complete obscurity, and they say, go and skate. You don't know where you're going, and it's slippery. It's just something to look at. It's how people walk spiritually. They double-minded. They all over the place. All right? They can't catch a break. Go ahead, 36.
While you have light, believe in the light, that you may be the children of the light.
That you may be the children of the light. See, back then, the children of Israel was an automatic ballot that they get that light because the covenant was given to them and we was in bondage.
Right.
But after we came out, now it's time to make a decision, a complete decision to walk in light. See, we're not just giving handouts now. Now you got to be like those 5 wise virgins. We're not giving out handouts. When they came to those 5 that were wise, the foolish came to the wise, they said, give us some of your oil. What did they tell them? Nah, I'm not giving you no handouts. You got to go and get it for yourself.
Hallelujah.
This goes for a husband and wife, a father and son, a mother and daughter. Whatever you want to, relationship you want to give here on the earthly scale, we have to walk our own walk together in light. All right. Let's get some more though. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 3. We're going to go in a little deeper. You know, we just pointing out some metaphorical things right now. We're going to go a little deeper. As y'all can see, I brought this today. We're going to go deeper. Yup. All right. So, what I say, the book of John, chapter 3. Let's see. Chapter 3. All right. We can pick it up at verse 16, the famous scripture, but I don't want to deal with that right now. But just for the context, we're going to pick it up at verse 16. Read down to 19. Actually, we're going to read down to 21.
For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life.
1 second, y'all. All right, go ahead. Yeah, 16 again.
For For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Now pay attention to verse 18 on down.
He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim.
So what the Christians are going to do here is they're going to just read 16, and they might even read down to verse 18 and just stop. All you have to do is believe X, Y, and Z. Like I said, I really don't want to deal with what they use, but now it's time to take it a little further and say, well, have you read John 3:19 on down? I just took the time to do so. Maybe you should. Go ahead.
And this is the condemnation.
This is the condemnation. Go ahead.
That light is come into the world.
And with that word light again, has come into the world. Back in Genesis, right? Let there be what? It came into the world that way, and it also came into the world with Hamashiach, the Messiah. Yahshuah, however they want to pronounce it, when he came in to set the captives free, to do everything that he was supposed to do, he came in, and nobody can hide in darkness anymore. Go ahead.
That light come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil.
This is why they don't want to come out to the Shabbat. This is why they don't want to come to the feast, to the gatherings. Those that are able to. This is why. Because their deeds are low-key evil, and it's exposure now. You can't hide like these Pharisees no more, because Yahweh came and he tore that doctrine up, shed light on it. Now nobody can hide behind the scenes and say, well, do this, do that, from their home, from the comfort of their home, or whatever. They can't do that no more. But light come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Go ahead.
For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light.
So if you hate the light, what do you love? Darkness. So it's an automatic separation. Not from us saying, get away from me, but you doing it yourself. You're cutting yourself. You're separating yourself. Go ahead.
Neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved.
At least he don't come to the light unless his deeds be reproved. And it's like, it's very few that can really humble themselves to even be reproved. Humble. That's another word I want y'all to keep in mind. Humble. Humility. Being humble. Being able to be rebuked in the open. Like Proverbs 27 says, open rebuke is better than secret love. So we got to be humble enough to say, you know what, yeah, you was right. Came in and I didn't follow the guidelines of, the Torah or whatever. You was right. And I thank you for that, brother. That's how it should be. People want to continue to keep everything bottled in and not be reproved and so on and so forth. But go ahead, though. Verse 21.
But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought Elohim.
Right. So do truth, come to the light, that your deeds be made manifest. Right? All right. Now, it's about to get deep. It's about to get deep right now, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention, follow along, because now we got the importance of separation with light, how the Most High or the Elohim, created the light in the beginning and separated the light from the darkness and so on and so forth. You're seeing what Corinth said. We actually going to go back there too. Go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And we're going to pick up where we left off at. But we're seeing unrighteous and righteousness. We're seeing, light and darkness, all this stuff that's showing a form of separation by default. All right. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. We'll pick it up at verse 15.
time to get there.
That's why they should have made it one book. All these Corinthians, like you talk to some light Corinthians over here and second Corinthians. He talked to some light ones and then he talked to some dark ones. First and second, brother.
Tripping with that. Let's get it, y'all. And
15, yep.
what could core have Hamashiach with the deity?
So what agreement have Hamashiach with this deity? And this is another word for Satan. Right? So when Satan met Yahshuah in the wilderness, was they in agreement? Was Satan and Hamashiach in agreement when they met up in the wilderness? No. They like shaking hands, like, you know what, you right. Satan was lying in there. You know what I mean? But that's another topic. But they wasn't in agreements. Go ahead.
But what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?
So what part he that believeth, somebody that has faith, with a person that don't believe? We cannot, look, let's put ourselves in this particular example. Married couples, raise your hand. All right, let's play a game. Married couple, raise your hand. Married people. Okay. All right. Let's play a game. Do you trust your spouse with all your heart, mind, and soul? All right, I'm gonna try to get the best example I can. Husbands, we're blindfolded, right? We are blindfolded. Now, you have to hearken into the words of your wife. And she's telling you where to walk, right? While you're blindfolded, she's telling you where to walk to avoid, I don't know, a pothole, right? Let's just use that. Could you really believe and trust in her? Say yeah? All right. Hallelujah. It's easier said than done, but we be like, hey, we be like this. We be like, hold on, you said go left, and you make make sure she ain't trying to.
Go left on my
Go
left.
ahead.
Go left on my left.
All right.
You didn't hear this.
I'm over here sewing this one. I said, depending on how you acted yesterday.
Oh man, see what I mean? And that goes vice versa as well. But it just don't go for the person that's blindfolded. It goes for the person that's guiding you. You have to trust that they'll trust you. We've been together 10 years. You better trust me to go left. Yeah, your left, my left. Yeah. Yeah, go left.
That's my right.
Wait, left. But if we didn't trust each other, right? If we didn't trust each other, one would take the blindfold off and give up. The other one would say, yeah, your left, but my right. Got him. Because I don't really trust them to go all the way through with this person. So it's kind of like that with belief and unbelief. We have to be on one accord. You know what I mean? If we're not on one accord, it's an automatic separation. Whether it's through the physical or the spiritual, it's going to be automatic separation. Same with the assemblies. If you can't trust and believe that the Most High is trying to take you to another level in your walk, then guess what? You're going to stop coming to fellowship. You want to just do it from the comfort of your home and try to be macho, man or woman. And the adversary is going to attack you there. I've been part of it. I've been in the comfort of my home, not having a place of fellowship. And it's not a good place.
Not a good place.
Yeah, maybe one Shabbat, but we talking continuation of Shabbats, feast days and all this stuff, and you online, you seeing all these people getting edified and living it up, it's not a good feeling. And it kind of do make you not want to come around, because it's like, yo, I did all these different things that was lawful in the eyes of Yah. I can just imagine what's going to happen when I get in front of them and he exposed me, or whatever. So all this stuff ties in. You know what I mean? Unrighteous with righteousness. You know what I mean? A Mashiach with that deity, and a believer with an infidel. We can't even sit in a car past 2 stop signs without me getting ready to kick you out right here. Look, I give you some bus fare. Go. You're talking about some other stuff right now. I'm not trying to deal with that. All right. So, verse 16.
And what agreement hath the temple of Elohim with idols?
So what agreement has the temple of Elohim with idols? We can cover a wide range of things with this. He ain't letting no idols be brought forth in that temple. Get them out of here. Go ahead.
For ye are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them.
I will dwell in them and do what?
Walk in them.
Go ahead.
And I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
Significance of what happened in Egypt. They had light in their dwellings. The word was being brought forth. Y'all had to sprinkle this blood on your doorposts. They tell everybody that. But you do. He's walking in the dwellings, in the midst. Do it before you be utterly destroyed. Go ahead.
Wherefore, come out from among them.
Come out from among them and do what?
And be ye separate.
Be ye separate, says who?
Says Yah.
Go ahead.
Out, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
So he's telling you right here, be ye separate. And we can see it being repeated all through the scriptures where we got to be separate. You know what I mean? But let's go to Genesis chapter 4. So that's the importance of separation in that aspect. Now let's go to a different attribute of what we're going to later see from the Mashiach. And this is dealing with the goats, the sheep, you know what I mean, the flocks, the herds, or whatever the case may be. Because not all unrighteous people can be spotted out amongst righteousness. Right. Not all goats can be spotted out amongst sheep. They look the same depending on what region you live in. Do the research. I'm not lying. According to some regions you live in, it's hard to really spot out the difference between a goat and a sheep. We're going to go through those attributes and characteristics, how to spot them out using discernment, right? What I say, Genesis chapter 4? All right. Pick it up at verse 1.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh.
I have gotten a man from Yahweh. Go ahead. Keep that in mind.
And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep.
He was a what?
A keeper of sheep.
Abel was a keeper of sheep.
But Cain was a tiller of the ground.
So one was a tiller of the ground, and one was a keeper of sheep. Keep all this in mind. Because the sheep is very important in the last days. All right? Well, let's fast forward, because from verses 3 through 7, you're not really going to get the full paradigm, you know what I mean, on their situation that took place while they were in their particular habitations. It's just going to paraphrase through. We're going to get what took place in the book of Yahshuah. But read verse 8 though.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
He rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Right? Now, we don't know what they fully spoke about when you read Genesis. Right? So, what did they try to do? They tried to use their separation and take it out of the book so that we wouldn't understand the fullness of what was really being spoken of. So, in their regard, separation was not a good thing. You know what I mean? Because they tried to separate the truth from the truth. But we know how to unify the truth and put it all together. So if you got your books with you, we're going to go over here to the book of Yahshuah. We're going to go to the book of Yahshuah chapter 1. For those of y'all that are not familiar with the book of Jasher, you know, we'll go ahead and we'll take some questions and concerns about it later on. But for the time's sake and study's sake, we're going to go into this book, which we know and believe is a connection to the book of Genesis and some more verses in the scripture. Hallelujah. So we're going to go to the book of Jasher, chapter 1. And we're going to get what was being spoken about, because it's very important. What Cain and Abel was talking about, or how they converse, so to speak. Jasher chapter 1. And I'll read, I'll pick it up at 17. We're going to read down to verse 23. So keep in mind, that Eve conceived, bore Cain and Abel, and then it showed their offering toward the Most High, right? And then it just said that he slew him. So one would think, oh, he slew him only because his offering wasn't accepted by the Most High. But this is why we have to separate from some of the people that we generally congregate with in the world, because they'll turn their back on us. And this is why. I'm going to pick it up at verse 17 in the book of Jasher, chapter 1. It says, and in some time after, so a process of time, Cain and Abel, his brother, went one day in the field through their work. So they was doing work in the field. They was doing their thing, right? That part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on this account. Verse 18. And Cain approached his brother in anger. It didn't say that he approached him in Genesis. So maybe this is the build up or the lead up to what was built up in him. Right? And he said unto him, what is there between me and you, that thou comest to dwell and bring thy flock to feed in my land? So he feel like Abel got a problem. What you got between me and you, you bringing your flock over here? Right. Keep all this in mind. He's saying, you bringing your flock. Could Cain have shooed the flock away? Could Cain have told, this is a question to y'all, no trick question. Could Cain have told the flock, go, get out my land, go that way? Could he have used some type of distinct sound or voice to shoo them away? Y'all say yeah? All right.
Can I answer?
No.
Trick question. I say no too.
No.
I say no.
It's not a trick question when we gonna read it. We're gonna figure out it's not a trick question. So Cain could not have told the sheep or the flock, shoo away, or come here, and guided them and went over here. He couldn't. Only Abel could. That's why he approached him and said, what do you have against me that your flock is feeding in the land that I told? You know what I mean? Now it's pride and ego now. Keep that in mind. With the sheep and the goats, we'll get some characteristics on them. 19. And Abel answered his brother Cain and said unto him, now it's just a rebuttal. Now, what is there between me and you, that thou shalt eat the flesh of my flock and clothe thyself with their wool? So he didn't come to Cain first. He was going to keep it cool. Like, okay, clothing himself with the wool. All right. But he came to him, was made him rebuttal and say, well, if you got something against me, don't you know that you are getting the wool of my sheep, though? All right. Verse 20. And now, therefore, put off the wool of my sheep, with which thou hast clothed thyself, and recompense me for their fruit and flesh, which thou hast eaten. And when thou shalt have done this, I will then go from my land, or from thy land, as thou hast said. So he was humble enough to say, once we do this, I'm going to separate. I'm going to go. Cain was too prideful, too much built up anger. This also is a teaching. We all see that he put on the sheep's clothing. It's also for another time down the line, wolves in sheep's clothing. And see, it goes back, declaring the end from the beginning touches a wide range of things. Verse 21. And Cain said unto his brother Abel, surely, if I slay thee this day, who will require thy blood from me? And Abel answered and said, surely Elohim, who has made us and the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from thee, shouldest thou slay me. For Yahweh is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will require man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon the earth. Ox and our coats. What we are witnessing here is nothing more than a goat and a sheep. Now let's break down the characteristics of a goat so we can tell the difference, and a sheep. A goat eats the top portions of, you know, like your grains and different things like that. They eat with their head high. Not saying that the animal, the domestic animal, is prideful, but it shows a symbolic trait of them being prideful. Eating with his head high. When people get word filled up in them, they walk around with their head high and their chest out. Prideful. Their tails is also high. Also a symbolic trait of being prideful, arrogant, and so on and so forth. The only time you'll see a goat's tail down is when it's lame, torn, or stricken. It's the only time. But a sheep, you'll always see the tail down. And when they eat all the way down in the grooves of the grass, symbolizing humility.
Right.
Mashiach was very humble when he went up on the stage. They said, "Ain't you the king of the Jews?" I can just imagine him now. That's what you say. Yeah, that's what you say. It's a separation and characteristics of how we have to be here on earth. Right? So he came to Abel very prideful. "What do you got against me? They torn to the ground that I told. This is my land. I'm about to get him." It's like, man, what you got against me though? I would rebuttal somebody very calmly, a soft answer turning away wrath. What you got against me though? All right? But he slew his brother. And in the day of judgment, he's going to be, we'll get there. All right, so somebody had recollect of this though and didn't want this to take place. Somebody had recollect of this happening in times past and didn't want it to take place with them. Do anybody know who that particular individual was? Nobody? Somebody had recollect of this event that took place right here. Somebody was knowledgeable of this particular event. And they used it against, well, they used it to spare trouble, to spare strife and anger. They said, "No, I'm not going to do exactly how Cain and Abel did, but I'm going to kind of take control of the situation and go about my way, and he's going to go about his way." Do anybody know what individual that was?
I think that would be Abraham.
Let's go there. Genesis 13. He had recollect of this situation and said, "You know what? In times past," I'm not adding, I'm taking away, I'm just using observation. In times past, when this happened, somebody got killed.
Right.
And Abraham was a forefather, right? Righteous man. So let's go to the book of Genesis 13. For those of y'all that still don't know, we're just going to cut through the scriptures on it.
I was thinking, like, wait a minute, somebody before that.
Right.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna wait till I get over to the new. All right, so Genesis 13, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 3.
And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai.
Go ahead. My bad. We're gonna read down to 13.
Unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of Yahweh. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents.
So Abraham and Lot is together, right? They're dwelling together. But let's see what's gonna take place. Jump down to verse go to verse 6.
And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herd of Abraham's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
So it was strife between the herd, right? So if it's going to be strife between them, then eventually it's going to be strife between the two brethren. Right? Jump down to verse 8.
And Abram said unto Lot, that there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren.
So he said, don't let it be no strife between me and you and the herdmen, right? Because when we look backward, we see it was strife between the two brethren, because one was eating from the ground which he told, and then he was also taken from the clothing. He was taken from the backs of the sheep to clothe himself. So eventually it became strifeful, right? Go to verse 9.
Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself.
Do what?
Separate thyself.
Go ahead.
I pray thee from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left.
So in a nutshell, they basically chose to separate. But separation wasn't bad in that sense, because what happened? They ended up coming back. They kept the shalom, they came back, and they were able to be delivered together. All because one chose to say, you know what, you're right. I'm out. All right? He humbled himself. Yup, I'm out. All right? Now let's go back a little bit of what I said about why Cain could not voice off the sheep from eating and what he told. Let's go to the book of John chapter 10. We're going to pick it up at verse 7. This is the reason why Cain could not direct the sheep where he wanted to direct them. The only way he could is by force. The only way he could do it is by force. Yup. 10 and verse 7, we're going to read down to 18. But the only way he could do it is by force. And being that it was forcible, this is why they were getting killed. He was eating them. He was wearing them, because he was doing things by force. It was another reason why he had all this envy and strife built in. Pick it up at verse 7 though, brother.
Then said Yahweh unto them again, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep.
I am the who?
The door of the sheep.
This is Mashiach. What did he say? I come not but to the lost who? Sheep of the house of Israel. Go ahead.
And that all that ever came before me are thieves and robbers.
Thieves and who?
Robbers.
All right, so that's an unrighteous act, right? You're a thief, you're a robber, you're unrighteous. Go ahead.
But the sheep did not hear them.
They did what?
Did not hear them.
Why they didn't hear them? Supposed to hearken to everybody. It's a stranger. They don't listen to strangers that commit unlawful acts. I don't hearken to that. Go ahead.
I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out, and find pasture. The thief cometh not.
The thief cometh not, watch this.
But for to steal.
But for to steal, and what else?
And to kill.
And to kill, just like Cain did Abel. He was an unrighteous man. Just taking when he wants to or whatever, and killing. Go ahead.
And to destroy.
And to destroy. Go ahead.
I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd.
I'm the good shepherd. Because the shepherd is nothing more than someone who's over the flock. Go ahead.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. But he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, who own the sheep, or not, see if the wolf cometh and leaveth the sheep and fleeth, and the wolf catches them and scatter the sheep.
The wolf catches them and scatters the sheep. This is why the term wolves in sheep's clothing. Want to disguise yourself, scatter the flock. Want to sit on the podium and talk this, talk that, but really scatter the flock. Go ahead.
That's word. The hireling fleeth, because he is an hireling, and careth not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and I am known of mine.
Verse 15. As the Father knoweth me, even so now I the Father. So it's a relationship there. Look at the pattern. And I lay down my life for the sheep. Because he's very humble, just like a sheep is. They don't fight and all that. You catch a sheep, they're going to sit there and say it is what it is. I'm telling you, look up some things online. You're going to be surprised what you see. These sheep lay their life down. 17. Therefore, does my Father, 16. I almost missed the key part. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice. Oh, they shall hear my voice. The sheep that are not of this fold. Who was that? We just opened up a door to show that the other nations can be saved. But he said, in general, these sheep hear his voice. So when Abel was directing the sheep, they heard his voice, but they couldn't hear Cain. He was a stranger to them. They won't hearken. To a thief, a robber, a liar, a murderer, or whatever. They will not hearken. A true sheep is what we have to be once we leave this room today. Keep it in mind. A true man or woman of the light is what we have to be continuing forward. All right? So they hear my voice, and there shall be one fold, bringing them together, right? Just like Abraham and Lot. They were two when they separated, and they came back as one, united, a child. Only to be delivered out of the wicked land of Sodom and Gomorrah. But we had an individual that turned around and didn't want to be partakers of it. Turned to salt. That's a whole nother topic though. 17. Therefore does my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I might take it up again, or take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down. I have power to take it again. The commandment have I received of my Father. So let's be the light of the world, the children of the light. Let's continue to be the sheep and not a goat. All right? Give me Proverbs chapter 4. Let's continue to hear the words of the Most High. And let's not try to be so controlling and go so broadly like the goats do, but let's just lay our life down and let the Most High control us as the vessels. I mean, let's be those sheep. Let him direct our path. That's why the scriptures say, honor him in all thy ways, and he shall direct your path. Just like a shepherd do a sheep. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 20. We're going to read verse 20, and I'll let you know what to skip down to after that verse. All right? So yeah, everybody good? Good lesson so far? We want to make sure. So when we leave here, we be as sheep. Verse 20.
My son, attend to my words. Incline thy ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thy eyes. Keep them in the midst of thy heart.
So when y'all on your spare time, when you go and look at the shepherd and sheep, you're going to see that when the shepherd calls the sheep, they look up directly at him. They might not look up right away. You still got some stiff neck Israelites there. They might not look up right away though, maybe because they still feeding and trying to get it in, but they eventually all look up. And when one go, they all go. It's amazing. It's amazing, right? Verse 25.
let thy eyes look right on, and let thy eyelids look straight before thee.
Straight before thee. We have to look straight. That's why we call it the straight and narrow path. It's not going to be a lot of people. See, the goats can't walk straightward. They always got to go left and right and do all this different stuff. You know what I mean? They're too prideful to say, let's just walk straight like this. Don't look over. Let's trust in what our mission is and go. Nah, they got to do all this. Then we got to put it in sports talk and say, see, I'm the GOAT. Greatest of all time, right? But you're really the GOAT that the scriptures speak about because you're prideful and high-minded. You want to do everything your way. You know what I mean? I don't want to bring up LeBron, but some question, is he really a team player, or is he really chasing out the accolades at the end of the day? Is he trying to deceive and trying to is he trying to disguise his teamwork? Or is he really at the end of the day sitting back telling his kids, yeah, we got to be like daddy, or this what daddy do? I don't know. It's something to look at. So all these allegories tie right into the scriptures. I'm the GOAT. It's not a coincidence why people run around. Ain't nobody running around saying I'm the sheep. I'm the sheep. Nah, everybody want to be the GOAT. They don't want to have that straight path of what the mission is. Go ahead, 26.
26. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established.
Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. We gotta follow these guidelines, man. True indeed, true indeed. So yeah, let's get the whole meaning of why this lesson came out. Let's go to the Mashiach words himself. Book of Matthew, chapter 25. And I got one last allegory or analogy to give after we get the full meaning of what's going to take place with these goats and sheep. When you leave this room today, you say, I want to be on this side and not that side. Go ahead, sis.
You said a lot of say they worship the goat. Maybe they're saying that they worship Baphomet.
Hey, that's another one.
Maybe they say that.
Baphomet is a goat.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Maybe they saying that.
Yeah.
With all these secret societies and all that, a lot of them worship that Baphomet, which is a goat, and they setting it up. So maybe that's probably what they said, but people don't probably not catching that. That's probably what they want.
Called it.
Go ahead,
Scapegoat and deceiver is the spirit of Zazel.
Yeah.
And it's called scapegoat.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they use to sacrifice from running out to the wild.
The uncleanness run off.
I felt all from jump when you had this session. I felt when you was going. I felt it was already connected, and I think that is a trick of the enemy. I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest of all time, but you really worshiping yourself.
That is.
So it's all the same. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Ties right
If
in.
you doubt it, then you still swinging. It is what it is to me. Ain't no gray area.
Hallelujah. I appreciate y'all on commenting that. Hallelujah. Let's go to the book of Matthew 25. All right, so we got a few more scriptures to give. 25, gonna pick it up at verse 31, just skim through. 31 through 34.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the set apart angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another.
He shall do what?
Separate them one from another.
He shall put them together one from another.
Separate them one from another.
Go ahead.
As a shepherd divideth the sheep from the goats.
As a shepherd divided the sheep from the goats. Go ahead.
Verse 33. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand.
He shall set the sheep on the right hand. That right hand is very significant. Righteousness. He brought us out of Egypt. Right hand. You ever heard of a left hand man? What about right hand man? Hold more substance when we tie it in like that, right? My right hand man, that's my dog. Now, how would I sit where? Right hand of the Most High. Go ahead.
But the goats on the left. And shall the king say to them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
Hallelujah. So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, just ask yourself this question. Do I want to get left or do I want to be right? Right? Do I want to be a sheep or do I want to be a goat or the goat?
Observe yourself.
Just meditate on that. One more analogy though, I wanted to give. Let's go to the book of Matthew 13. We talked about being prideful, high-minded. We're talking about separation. Talking about a little humility. Talking about righteousness, unrighteousness, light and dark. All these different things, right? Matthew 13, and we're going to pick it up at verse 24 and verse 30. This is a parable about the wheat and the tares. All right? So we're going to let y'all get there. We're going to finish it up with this. And how much time we got on that?
Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while he slept, his enemy came.
While he did what?
His enemy came.
While he slept. We got to stay woke. We got to stay woke. Go ahead.
And sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also.
Then appear the tares also. So keep this in mind. While we are gradually trying to separate ourselves from the world, there are some tares among the wheat in truth. But just do what you need to do and walk that straight and narrow path. They're going to go left and right. And at the end of the day, they're going to be separated. Go ahead.
Verse 28. He said unto them, An enemy have done this.
27.
27?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Verse 27. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, excuse me, y'all. Let me start that again. He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, But thou then that we go and gather them up. But he said, Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them.
So don't do it, because if you do it, you're going to bring up everything. Let's wait. You ever try to do something at home and wasn't specialized in it? Messed up. Wifey said, see, I told you should have called Thompson Heat Cooler because now you messed up the AC. We need to wait. That's another thing. We need to stop trying to thrust people out on the physical side, like, oh, you ain't got your fringes on. Get out. No, this separation is different. You have to, the way you separate yourself is just by walking straight. And and the Most High gonna take care of everything else. Be aware though, be mindful, but just walk this straight and narrow path, and they gonna separate themselves. We ain't gonna worry about who wearing fringes and who fringes is longer and all that stuff. We ain't worried about that. All right, we just worried about our own modesty, and through our actions and stuff, we're gonna hope that they tag along to what modesty is by the way we dress, by the way we act, by the way we talk, whatever. We hope that they pick up from there. But if they don't want to do it, then guess what? Hopefully you are doing righteousness away from the assembly. When you're alone or when you're in your household with your family, we got to keep it moving. All right? Go ahead, though.
I'm going to read verse 29 again. But he said, nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. In the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them.
So the reapers is who he's going to send to do this work that they're specialized in. Some may look at it differently. I see it as the Malachim or the angels. It's the reapers. They are specialized, right? They picking out who need to be on this side and who need to be on that side. But if we try to do it, you're going to tear a whole assembly down. Go ahead.
Let's do 30 again. Let both grow together until the harvest. In the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my bones.
Gather them together and burn them. Gather the wheat into my barn. So when you look at a wheat and a tare, a wheat, when it grows to its highest peak, it tends to bow over and bow down. Humility. But a tare sits up straight. Right. Right? All them symbolical traits that we seeing, man. But if we, like I said, if the heads of these congregations is trying to go and point and say, nah, I'm going to just get it, you're going to tear down the whole congregation and you're going to cause somebody to go another way. We're going to let these reapers do it. Hallelujah. So with that, man, we over the hour. With that, I say, well, before I say shalom, I pray that this lesson, is taken forth. I pray that this lesson is not going in one ear and out the other over our heads, but I pray that this lesson is instilled within our spirit or ruach, and that we may be able to do further research. If there are some things that I left out, I pray that the Most High reveal it later on to either me or anybody else and to the viewers. We say spread the good news, the good word. Like, share, and subscribe. All praises to the Most High and His Son, Yahshuah. And with that, I say shalom.
Shalom. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Good, yeah.